Hi guys, Mitch from Switchback Lighting here. Today we've got this Series 2 VF SSV in. This one today is getting wireless Apple Carplay and Android Auto kit. So basically what comes in the kit, open the box up, you've got your CarPlay module itself. Bit of instructions, installation instructions, and what needs to be plugged in and what not. Take our cover off here, and we've got our wiring looms as well. So our main wiring loom that we'll be using is this one here. We've also got the visual cable here. And basically there is an external microphone. We don't need to use this, and that would be plugging the USB port with that microphone as well, and some Velcro, double-sided tape on either side, and our two aerials which plug in here. So first off, take this out of the packet. We're going to pull the covers off the aerial, and we're going to whack these in first. So it doesn't matter which way they go. For where I put this module, this is how I have the aerials. So just flat, like so. And then this will slide in above the glove box just like that. So basically we'll get into the installation. I'll show you how to put it in, how easy it is to put in, with a few tips and tricks on the way, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so first off, what we are going to do is jump in and turn the ignition on, just to make sure that the current Mylink system is all working, functional, we've got audio and all of that. Just so we know that there's no issues, because this does use the factory Mylink system as well. So with the ignition on, we are going to put our transmission, if it's an auto, we're going to put it into drive and open the door, just so we've got a bit more room here to work. So what we do have to do first is we've got to take these trims off, our left and right trim. Generally I find it easier to use a trim removal tool down the end here and pop it off like that, and then you can sort of use your fingers with a bit of help from the trim removal tool, just to unclip this last clip like so. For this other one, I find it easier to go around to the passenger side. Go around to the passenger side. I start from the end here normally, and I just push up with my thumb, pop my trim removal tool in here and twist. And you can just work along with your fingers until the end pops out, and I normally just pop that in the boot side. I'm going to run back round to the other side, and basically we're going to start taking the actual Mylink itself out. So I'll turn a light on so we can see. We've got one screw, it's a 7mm hex head either side here for the Mylink screen, and then we've got two underneath it for the climate control section here. So we'll undo them. Helps if you do have a drill or electric screwdriver to undo these. Saves a lot of time. And basically the Mylink screen is still clipped in, so I'm going to pull up on the bottom here, and then basically pull back. I normally put my fingers between the sort of fabric here and pull it backwards until the clips release and you can bring it forward. So next part, to undo, unplug our 3 connectors. You can't get this wrong. So our Mylink screen's off now. Climate control set up. There's 2 clips in about this position after these screws are undone. So we're just going to pull back towards where you're sitting. 1 plug to undo on the back of here, and that also comes off as well. So right now we've got the Mylink box here that needs to come out also. So our plugs that we do connect into are on the back of this unit. So 4 plugs here. Normally what I like to take off before I pull this out are these side spears. Now you've got to be very careful with these because all the clips clip in front ways. They're not a pull up type thing. So I'll show you a little trick of what I do to get these off. So I start up the top. There's a bit of a ledge that you can grab on, and you can pop the first clip on both sides, and then generally we just pull backwards like that. Now you can see how it all goes. So if you were to pull up on these, you're going to break all of the clips and they're not going back on. So you've got to be careful with that. I do both sides just so that they don't get scratched by the Mylink, and I'm going to put a microfiber cloth down just so nothing gets damaged here. So same thing on this side, like that. Perfect. Spears are off and you're good to go. So we're going to undo these 4 screws now. They're all the same screws, so I just put them in the center console here. 3 and 4. So what we do have to do when we're pulling the Mylink unit itself out, they come off these locating tabs here, and then there's a heap of plugs on the back that we need to undo. So basically what we do is we'll pull it forward like that. See how it's sort of all folded in under itself. We just roll it forward, and we've got the aerial, which can be pretty tricky to undo. Might start with the main loom. So for this main loom, we've actually got to push down on this little locking clip like that, push it back, and unplugs pretty easily. That's our display cable. There's a few other bits and pieces here that we need to unplug, all just by pressing the push clips on the top. Sometimes you do have to put a little bit more effort into it. And then we've got our last one down here, which is the blue, I believe that's the GPS. And they can be pretty tight to get onto. With these ones, what I like to do is just push them in, push your socket down, and just use your other finger as leverage to get it out. So that's out now. So that's your Mylink box. That's your main connector, which we do connect into with our harness. We also connect into this one. I believe that is for, actually, not actually sure what goes through there, but our power and all the speaker wires, I believe, go through these. So just going to put that aside for now. That's pretty much all we need to take apart besides the glove box. We do need to take the glove box out for where I put them. Some people will put their CarPlay units down here and just let them sort of sit freely down here. It can be difficult to get them in there and all the cables and whatnot. There is a fair bit of cables that have to go in here. So I am going to put it behind the glove box today, above the blower fan. I like this spot for it. Seems to stay there pretty well. So we'll take our glove box out and I'll show you what we're going to do next. for our glove box, because I have thrown everything on the seat here, what I am actually going to do is just put our trims up on the seat here, just so we've got a bit more room on the seat. Get our tools out of here. We'll put our Mylink up on the seat, being careful with it, and we'll put this on the seat too. Move our seat back, and we'll leave that there. So what we need to do for our glove box is this panel to come off here. So we'll pop this trim off, pull the rubber alongside there. Underneath here we've got 5 plastic clips that need to come off. So I normally use a flathead screwdriver and twist them. Some are easier than others. These ones are pretty easy this morning. Some of them take a little bit more. So I've got these 3 at the front, 2 at the back here. What I like to do is just turn them around so it's find a little bit of an easier spot to actually pry them up. Alright, so that should be all of them. And we just pop our clips off, don't lose them. And normally with that, we've got our 3 bolts there. So I'm going to pop these up here. So we've got our 3 bolts down here. Does look like this glove box has been taken apart before. 3 there. These are longer screws, so I'm going to put them in another spot. We've got 3 up the top here, and we also have the light that needs to come out as well. So that glove box is already coming away, so that does indicate to me that it has been off before. That's our 6th bolt now. So normally what I do with these is we'll shut the glove box, get our trim removal tool and just pry away, unplug our glove box light, and our glove box comes away. Just pop it on our flooring here. So where we're going to put our Mylink, our Apple Carplay is right up here. So there's a bit of nice carpet up there on top of plastic there, and basically we route our cables around the duct here, and you'll see that's where it goes through to the Mylink. So that is where we're going to run everything. So let's go get our cable and we'll run the cable across, plug everything in, and we'll see where we mount it. So we're going to grab basically all the 3 things we need, including we are going to use one of the Velcros. I like to use the soft side just to provide a bit of insulation, because it will be sitting on top of the plastic where I am putting it, just so it doesn't rattle around and yeah, make a bit of noise. So I'll pop that down there. So that's the soft side, that's the hard side. We aren't going to use the hard side. So we'll grab these 2 cables because that's what we need. I do this from the driver's side just because it's a little bit easier. Pop that one in here. The unit itself can go down there because we don't need that yet. So we'll take that off, I'll throw that on there. So this loom here, we've got our main connector, which will go in back into the Mylink box. We've then got the male version of that, which will actually plug into the plug that's already there. Same with our other plug there. We've got a male and female version, so it's just a bit of a a tap in for it, and then this goes into the CarPlay box. So if you were going to be using any mics or anything, that would plug in to here, but we aren't for this because it does use the factory microphone. So I'm going to wrap all this up so it's nice and neat. So basically what we will do is route our cable around the outside here. For now I'm just going to have it go outside of the glove box, and then we'll actually route it properly very shortly. So with our setup here, we've got our one plug which will plug into current loom. That goes on the other end, that goes to the Mylink box. Same as this goes to the Mylink box. You need to plug our main loom in. What we do have to make sure is one, that it's in the right way. With these, I like to be fairly careful with them. Like that, make sure you're not forcing anything. One thing to watch after you have plugged it in is your power and earth here. Sometimes they do pull out of the plug if you don't line it up properly, and it pushes right back through the loom. So that's one thing to watch. Just have a look at them, give them a bit of a pull before you go and put everything back together, because yeah, that can cause some issues if so. Now our last cable, this is our display cable. So we've got two blue plugs here, a male and a female, and we have a male and a female here. So basically what we are going to do is plug our male and female together. You can't get this wrong. So that unit, we don't touch this one up the top because that is the display into the Mylink, but this plugs into the Mylink box instead of this one essentially. So we're going to run this through the back where the other stuff's running as well, like so. So now what we have to do is basically put everything back together. So what I like to do to fit all this in, because normally it sort of fits in like this, is normally obviously everything that needs to plug in needs to stay down. There's a bit of tape here that I normally will rip just to separate them. These are your 3 touch screens, so they go up the top anyway. These will stay down the bottom, and these will go up the top. So basically it's gonna look a bit like this with these 2 plugged in. So I'm gonna get our main Mylink box here. This plug is already locked in, so we're gonna push down on the top bit there. Again, same thing as the other plug. We're not going to give it a real hard push in. We're just gonna make sure that that's all the way open, which it is, and basically have it sit in properly like that, and making sure everything is lined up like so. So that's all plugged in. A second plug here, and of course our third plug in here. So they're all our CarPlay related plugs, and then we've just got these 3 here. So what I am going to do is just, because these do go up the top, I'm just going to muck these around a bit. Okay, so our GPS first, which is the blue one. These are, you can rotate these, which is good. So basically clip in at the top. This one as well. And our last one, so see how they rotate. You want that straight up and down. That's all the plugs we need to plug in to. So basically, we're gonna just get all these out of the way, and you'll see why shortly, because there's not a lot of room behind the Mylink at all. So we are going to sit everything on the top. So put our main unit back in, you'll know that it seats properly if it can go right back. So essentially now we'll put our 4 bolts in, 7 mils that we had before. Those are all in, so I'm just going to spend a little bit of time making sure all our cables are all pulled through, and that all these 3 are good to go. So normally with this setup, I'll just fold it over like so, and then basically we're going to whack our screen on. We'll do our climate control first. I am going to test if this is working before I put it all back together. But yeah, so putting this back on, you sort of line it up with the holes. You'll be able to see down here your 2 clips, like that. So it can be a bit fiddly, but who knows. What I have, generally you can still get these in afterwards. There's a heap of room, so these can go in sort of last even. So what I am going to do now though is grab our screen, and we've got the 3 plugs to plug in, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3. These are the same plugs that we had before, so I am not going to completely clip this in yet because we need to test it before everything goes back together. But we are going to go around the other side, put our Mylink up where it is. We're going to wrap our loom up and get it situated where it normally goes. Got our felt tape. So I'm going to, before I go and route this stuff in, I am going to wrap this up because we aren't going to be using any of these, just so it's not flapping around and whatnot. We're also going to grab some cable ties as well, because we'll put a few ties on where we run the loom here. So this will stop vibration and things like that while, if it is touching anything like hard while he's driving. Alright, so what we are going to do is we want to run our CarPlay main harness and the touch harness back through around this metal brace, which you'll be able to see in a second, like so. Just gives us a bit more length on it so we can reach where we're going. Same goes with this. Cool. These are often slightly different sizes, so we'll put some ties around that to make sure that that's all good. But you're going to go around the back here. We do have to watch out because this is all our climate control actuators and vents and things like that. These all move, so this is why we've got to make sure that it is tied in properly. And generally we tie it into the loom up here, but this is where we're going to be putting the unit. So same thing with this guy, around the corner, like so. Might need a bit more from that one. Should be fine. So when we plug in, basically the touch will be on this side. Make sure 1 and 2. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, which all have to be high for the Holden display. So 3, 4, 5, 6 are all high, and then our 1 and 2 car mic or CarPlay mic. So we're going to use the car mic, which is 1 high, 2 low, 1 high, 2 low. So just make sure that they're all correct before you go putting everything in. So what we are going to do is plug our main harness in, and we'll plug our touch harness in. Good thing the touch harness is actually on the correct side that we need it to be. Like that. And CarPlay unit goes up here, and that's pretty much a finished product of where it sits. It's wedged in there enough that it's not going to go and move anywhere. Tie that in with the loom that's here. Tie those two together, and basically that's how it'll work. We'll tie all that together as well, but what we have to do is make sure that this thing works before we put everything back together. So let's jump in and test it. So I'm going to put this back in the park because ignition more than likely won't turn on. We'll shut the door because it's going to carry on a bit. Normally, first boot up, the Mylink screen does take a little while to come on, and that's just because the whole unit's been disconnected. I can hear the radio in the background, and normally it's just the screen that takes a little while to boot up. So just wait for that. Alright, eventually it turned on. What you do need to check, if you don't have a display but you can hear radio, is check your main blue cable there, because that does your display. That one is quite hard to get in down on the that unit, so that can cause you a few issues. So what we are going to do to get into the CarPlay Android Auto, we're going to hold down the home button for 3 seconds, and it'll switch over. So we're going to run through a bit of testing, make sure the touchscreen works, which it does. Perfect. I'm going to hook my own Bluetooth up to it as well, just to test that it's all working. So it'll be Holden and then a number, a pair. Don't allow contacts because this isn't my car, and then our CarPlay will hook up. So give it a second. So CarPlay's loaded up. I'm going to check our touch screen, check our music. Now with music, the music will not play unless you're connected via Mylink Bluetooth. So I'm not going to be able to test that until the customer gets back because his phone is paired up, but I might pair my phone actually just to test it out. So we go into the Mylink settings, phone settings, Bluetooth, pair device. Go back to our, it could be called hands-free. I've got that many Mylinks on here already. Pairing request, pair, don't allow contacts. Alright, so that my phone is all paired up. Basically, turn our source over to Bluetooth audio. Audio paused.
Phone book update failed.
That worked all good, so it's actually because I'm using my glasses to record that it won't let me play audio, but when I'm not recording it plays audio fine. So go through all your testing, practically try Siri out, make sure the mic's working. So if you say, hey Siri, Siri, there we go, yeah. So that's working, you can see it's hearing my voice. Perfect. And then, there we go, we had some audio. Probably because it's swapping from audio source to audio source. So basically we have changed the setting for right hand and also the aircon controls, so now those are displayed. What you need to do that is connect your phone up, go into your settings, your Holden settings, down to system, factory mode, advanced settings, code is 8818. Okay, factory setting, we're going to scroll down to right hand car driver, which is now ticked, and enable aircon display. Press apply, then basically it'll need a power cycle. So basically turn the car off, unplug your main power loom, plug it back in, and then you're good to go. It'll boot up. Once your phone connects, you'll have both of those things. The toolbar will move from this side to this side, and you'll obviously get your aircon controls, which I think look a lot nicer. You don't have to put that on if you don't want to, but I normally do for installation. So that's how to install our Apple CarPlay kit. It's very easy. It's plug and play. There's essentially 3 cables that need to be plugged into the back of the Mylink unit. So all we're going to do now is pop our unit back up the top, and also put our bolts back in, put our trims back on, and give it a final test, and then the customer can take it, hook his phone up, and yeah, away we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you found this interesting and informative. If you have any queries about this, please send us a message. If you want to book in to have it installed, send us a message, but otherwise, yeah, have a crack yourself. It's a nice and easy one to do. Cheers, guys. Thanks.